Heidi ho, my fellow Gen Xers. My name is Michelle, and I am I am on a learning journey, relearning the history that I grew up with. You know, the history that I thought I knew because I was there and I saw it on TV, and now I'm learning how different it was than what I thought, and just what I had just assumed. Um, you know, um, what I wanted to talk about today was the Ethiopian famine. If you grew up in the 80s, you remember, I mean, how can you not remember, from about 83 to 85, the famine that struck in Ethiopia. Now, there were several factors that contributed to this famine. It, drought. There was a severe drought, like little to no rainfall, obviously, so crops failed. There was civil war going on. There was mismanagement going on and corruption going on in the government. Um, and so there was a lot that contributed. Now, the famine was mainly up in the northern part of Ethiopia. And my understanding is that what I read was that it was worse up north because it was more rural, and harder to get supplies to. There was civil war. There was all kinds of things happening. So they were the hardest hit. Um, if you were in the United States, if you didn't live under a rock, there was a little thing called Live Aid. And Live Aid happened when it was, like the dawning of celebrity activism. Live Aid is when there was, the concerts and all these people came and they sang, and it was televised. You could donate money, you could send money. They raised I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure between Live Aid and Band Aid, which I think was the UK version. The US came after the UK. They raised over 100 million to help Ethiopia and Ethiopians. And there were a lot of images like this one that I see it, and I know I remember seeing it as a kid, and seeing that vulture by that kid at me as a kid. I think I was in fourth grade. Uh, Get up, get up, he wants to eat you. Like, to me, that was, I, I will never forget this image. Um, but there were a lot like that. I mean, we were inundated with so many images from this. And as a kid, you don't probably, like, you see it and you're like, wow, you don't know, like, what are we doing? How I was anyway. And, then of course, when people would say, you have to eat your food. There are starving people in Africa. I don't think we ever learned how that helped, but we did our part. We ate our vegetables. Um, but it was a very different thing. Like, there was like even as a kid, I think you could feel the urgency that was going on. And I mean, it was just all over, commercials. It was on the news, it was just everywhere, newspapers, magazines. You go to the grocery store, I would see these on magazines. And it was so much. Um, and I mean, silver lining, I guess, to it is that out of this famine, and there were a lot, we learned as a world community, we learned how to spot what's like before it's going on. And we have fail safe set up, to help in our own country, in other countries, to help this. Um, I think there's always been people that are like, my country first, and that's fine. There are a lot of things that I feel like, we need to, focus on here at home. But at the same time, I also feel that if you are in a position to help, I feel an obligation to help. We are not wealthy by any means, but if I can help someone, I will help someone, with whatever I can do, whether it's, a little bit of money, buying new groceries, whatever. I will do what I can because I feel that in a position where I am better off than other people, that I am under an obligation to help. Um, and I know a lot of people don't agree, and that's okay. You do you, boo boo. Um, but the learning, and I think growing up seeing this, how it affected me was, one, made me very aware and thankful for where I was at. My mom always had this saying of, there but for the grace of God go I, which is, as I've gotten older, I'm like, so true, so true. But I will never say, oh, that can never be me. Or, when you see someone homeless, you don't know what happened. You don't know where. where they've been, what they've gone through. Same thing, in people from other countries, Ethiopia. I think it just taught me a lot of empathy. I think as my little, what are you in fourth grade? What, 10? Uh, my naive child self was kind of, that bubble was burst, seeing these starving kids, and I'm like, I have everything that I need, and so it was kind of like, it was a humbling knowledge to have as a kid. Did anyone explain it to me? They didn't. Not a single adult explained anything that was going on, because it was the 80s. So there was a lot of stuff. Like, I was always scared as a kid, like, could that happen here? What is going on? How far is this? Do I need to worry about this? It was a whole thing. Yeah, I could have used a little parental guidance back then. But we're adults now. We learn, hopefully. But you guys, you go, be kind, have a great day, and enjoy your coffee.